Oh no.
Hey guys.
God, Cameron's on me. It's bad. It's laying on me. Not like on top of me. Just against me.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
No, don't do that.
Alright. I'm excited.
God. Ugh.
What?
No, your elbows. All of your sharp points are bad.
I'm excited, yay!
No, stop pushing me off the bed.
Go, 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 go.
Of cleanliness and cleanliness.
Go. Ew, did you fart?
No.
It smells like you farted.
It smells like you farted.
I didn't fart.
Get out of my life.
I know because it doesn't smell like my fart.
What? Alright. It's time.
Hi, Rot. Okay, go.
Having learned the dangers of using the
background.
public thoroughfares, you've taken to dodging down byways and skulking in rear areas, trying to spy out individuals who look ripe for friendship while avoiding the more criminally insane denizens. Just now, you're following a winding footpath through the undergrowth surrounding a neighborhood where the local hives are spaced far apart. You came creeping along this footpath for safety. You should have known better. The undergrowth here is like most of the other life forms on Alternia, evolved to ruthlessly purge the gene pool of the weak and the reasonable. Coiled, spring-loaded stalks with foot-long thorns flanked writhing bushes with their razor-edged leaves, which in turn crowd tentacled flora. Flore, with toothed lobes oozing liquid that hisses and smokes when it touches the ground.
God damn.
Extreme caution is needed, just as it's needed in every circumstance on this planet. While your time on Alternia has gotten you accustomed to injuries, you still shrink from being impaled on sprung thorns and dissolved in acid. You should have known that eventually you would have to come up against the local flora, so you proceed discreetly, avoiding poison fronds and trying not to step on trigger roots.
Okay.
But suddenly your vegetative focus is interrupted. You hear footsteps on the path, and then around the corner comes a small figure.
Oh, I love this song. I've heard this song already.
Alright. Its face and horns are painted with smudged black and white marks. Despite its diminutive physique, it has some of the most impressive horns you've seen on any troll.
Despite its... Oh, jeez!
It's got knives.
Yeah, it does.
Small figure sees you too. And is so startled that it jumps a foot, impaling its horns in an overhanging tree branch and sticking there so that its small legs pump helplessly in the air.
Okay.
Well...
Damn.
Oh no.
Alright, I gotta come up with a good voice.
Oh boy. Do a bad nerd voice.
A bad nerd voice?
I don't know, man. Like, have you done a bad nerd voice yet?
Honk!
You beg the small person's pardon and assure him that you were fully as startled as he. You go on to explain that you are not dangerous, but that even if you were, you would not want to come to strife with even a small person with horns of that size.
I don't know if his horns are all that. Huh?
Yes, you will be happy to help him down, as long as he promises not to attack you with the many bladed weapons that are stuffed into his belt, or with the dozen cans of inexpensive soft drink held in bandoliers crossing his chest.
What? He just said honk questioningly, and we're like, yes, we'll be happy to help.
It strikes you suddenly that a neighborly gesture like helping someone whose horns are stuck in a tree branch can scarcely fail to kindle the light of friendship. You dare to hope that this will be the case now. Edging forward, you get close enough to see that around the small clown's neck hangs a dog tag or ID necklace. You tilt your head and crane your neck to read the writing on it.
Bronya or something. Oh, does he belong in the caverns?
Oh boy.
Is this like a Drizzy situation? Oh shit.
Does he have debilitating mental diseases? Perhaps not in...
Is he cold? Is he like something that would get cold? Is he like mentally or physically? He doesn't look physically disabled. I don't think he's mentally disabled.
Is he not in full possession of his mental acuities?
I think he's just a kid, but like maybe he couldn't get picked out by Ulysses is what I'm thinking, but like, oh man, if he's like actually mentally disabled, that's gonna suck for him.
Kakarot Peridot. If lost, call Bronya or Samus.
Oh, use a voice.
Self-voicing enabled. Karako P-I-E-R-O-T lost. Call Brynja Ursima.
Brynja Ursima.
Self-voicing disabled.
P-I-E-R-O-T.
Alright.
It didn't even want to try.
No attempt. Not like Pirot or Pirot or Pierrot. Nope. Suddenly, this all makes sense. This Karako Pierrot must have been one of Bronya's reject runt wrigglers who, having grown to childhood under her tender care, had gone out into the world to seek his fortune.
Wait.
Reject runt wrigglers.
Reject runt wrigglers. Oh.
Well, no less is for you.
Shit, so I guess that happens sometimes, but like legitimately just happens.
That would account for his small size, short legs, and small stature relative to his horn. What if he's older? What if he's an adult?
Man.
Imagine.
I'm pretty sure he's not, considering what James said last time, but like...
Yep. That would be silly.
You mean okay, so his horns are tall for his age. That means that my character with the really tall horns must also be a reject.
You're stupid. I don't think that's why he's a reject. You're silly.
Short legs? He has short legs? They don't look short to me.
Relative to his horns. I don't know. You eagerly pull out your palm husk, happy for an excuse to pester your old friend, but you've got zero signal out here. You wonder if the surrounding vegetation eats palm husk signals just as it looks like it eats everything else. You disappointedly slip your palm husk back into your pocket.
Honk!
You apologize for the delay, explaining that you are surprised to find that you appear to have an acquaintance in common, whom you hope will have time to discuss later. For now, you are ready, willing, and hopefully able to help him down. What if he's doing this with his brain?
What?
What if he's, like, communicating
With his
us?
brain?
Yeah,
Oh, that'd be nutley.
that would be nutley. But he's clearly not saying anything.
Yeah.
You hope he won't be offended if you slip behind him first. It's not that you object to bladed weapons or those who stuff dozens of them in their belts, but you feel that the ones he's wearing could ruin your luck if buried in your torso, however unintentionally. You edge past the weapons, being careful also not to touch the spring thorns growing at the edge of the path or their trigger roots. Once you're behind Karako, you grasp his horns firmly and pull, withdrawing them from the tree branch and allowing him to drop lightly to the ground.
Honk!
Bad. You tell him that he's very welcome. Then there's a moment of awkward silence as you try to think of something else to say. Fortunately, your new potential friend is not as devoid of the social graces as you are, and gets the conversational ball rolling himself.
Honk!
You explain that you are indeed a stranger in these parts, and that you actually don't fit into any of the hemispectrum categories. Wild, right? Although not quite as strange as you used to be, you like to think. You're really starting to blend in with the local color.
Huh?
Well, you'd rather not exhibit your blood just now. You're a couple of courts low due to the robust conditions of life on Alternia, some of which you have recently had the honor of encountering.
Oh.
You sympathize. Slinging along these hidden paths.
I swear if this whole fucking route is this, I'm gonna lose my mind.
I think it's this.
Oh my god. At some point he's just like, yeah, I can talk.
Yeah, I was just fucking with you. Slinking along these hidden paths in the Alternian woods can be tough on the morale. The smell alone is enough to make strong men weep, and the vegetation looks like it was designed by the Marquise de Sade. Not that he knows who the Marquise de Sade is. You can't help but feel that it would be so much better if one
He has
only...
like an arrow on his face, Dunkley.
The Avatar.
Here he comes. Soda bending.
You're bad. Ah yes, the four elements. Spray paint, soda, knives, and religion.
So bad. The four elements. Blue soda, red soda, purple soda, green soda, also yellow soda.
Bad.
Face paint. You forgot about face paint.
I said face paint.
Oh, you did?
Oh, I said spray paint, which is...
Yeah, whatever. Okay.
You can't help but feel that it would be so much better if one only had a skulk buddy, you continue. How wonderful it would be to travel these dusky lanes with a kindred spirit, a twin soul, a fellow traveler, an intimate crony. You're such an expert on friend synonyms by now. The writer is very full of himself.
Huh?
No, you haven't met anyone like that either, but you would certainly like to. Your new potential friend is obviously thinking seriously about this issue, so you back off. Give him space. You pretend to be deeply immersed in studying one of the razor-sharp leaves on one of the writhing bushes beside the path. You aren't one to force yourself on others or try to unduly influence their friendship decisions. Aw, hell, of course you are. Okay, well maybe you forced yourself on others in the past.
What if he's just a mute and he just says honk? Like that's his mute meanings of communication. Anyway.
And try to influence their friendship decisions. Maybe you've even done this a lot, but you've recently evolved as a person. You are enlightened. You know now that friendship is something that has to come authentically from within. Friendship is spontaneous. Real friendship sprouts naturally from the soil of mutual respect. The best friendships grow and ripen over years and are not rushed or forced. Of course, you've only known this small person for about 5 minutes, but you have to start ripening sometime. You're reflecting thus on the theme of friendship when allowed.
There's like so much thought from our main character just because this character doesn't say anything.
Pours suddenly from the sky above you. It's a crackling, sizzling sound, like a chitinous thing with too many legs struggling in a hot frying pan.
Is that a can? Or is that a noise? No, it's an actual thing.
Karako jumps so violently that he nearly gets his arms stuck in the tree again. Looking up, you see a floating metal object, vaguely troll-shaped, but huge, faceless metal and with numerous sets of light and bolt-shaped horns coming out of its head and neck.
What the fuck?
Special drone.
I don't know.
Maybe. It's also not a very sparkling conversationalist. His remarks in a flat, echoing blare. He elaborates further. A drone. Well.
Run, a drone.
Run, a drone. You run in a wild panic. It's a drone!
Get destroyed by the flora.
Even the Alternian badasses you've hung out with have been terrified of the drones. Up close, it's one of the most terrifying things you've ever seen. It's making noises, which you didn't know they even did, which probably means something sinister. That's the mating call.
Exactly. I'm here.
You're bad.
For the babies.
You race at top speed down the twisting path, focusing your senses to their breaking point to avoid trigger roots, razor leaves, and acid pods. At first you hear the pattering of small feet running behind you, but as you redouble your speed, the pattering falls back and after a while is lost in the distance.
Well, damn.
You sprint for what seems a lifetime before you finally catch your foot on a trigger root and go flying through the air. Barely missing being sliced into 100 pieces of tumbling ham by the barbed spring vine that splashes across the path only inches behind you. You land in the dirt, wind knocked out of you, but otherwise unhurt. You lie there catching your breath and waiting, but nothing happens. No enormous metal monster whizzes down the path to impale you. No small clown-faced individual overtakes you on his short legs. Finally, after nothing happens, you pick yourself up and dust yourself off. You're alone on the path, and no sound of either friend or potential friend or foe can be heard. No birds sing, which is probably good. Imagine that any birds native to this forest would probably sing by croaking up putrid sludge, and that the sludge would be poisonous or radioactive. Leaving aside the character of the local fauna, what should you do? Keep on down the path, putting more distance between yourself and the drone? Or should you go back and see if Karako is okay? You waffle for a while and then decide to go back. You sneak back along the path. You sneak a long, long way, but however far you go, there are no signs of either Karako or the drone.
Well, Karako's dead.
You don't know whether the drone picked Karako up and took him away, or disemboweled him and scattered the fragments, or whether Karako leapt in the undergrowth and hid or escaped. What? One way or another, you're all alone again on this path through the shit-smell forest. Game over.
Aww.
Well, that sure was the thing that happened. Leap to your proto-friend's aid. Ooh.
I think this is more so. I think he's the root with the more lore.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You leap to your proto-friend's aid. Thinking quickly, you push Karako against a large rock that juts out of the undergrowth nearby and jump in front of him, shielding him from the drone with your body. You then pretend to be leaning against the rock in an attitude of tranquil repose. Several of the bladed weapons in Karako's belt poke you in the ass, but you don't let this show on your face. Instead, you yawn elaborately and check your wristwatch. You don't have a wristwatch, but you don't think drones know what a wristwatch is anyway. You pretend to smoke a non-existent cigarette. Again, you're not giving anything away, because drones don't know what cigarettes are either. But the drone has apparently taken an interest in you. It floats down between the trees and undergrowth and hovers above the path several meters from where you're pretending to relax against the rock after a long day of hiking through a scenic shit-smell forest. It's quite a terrifying sight, actually. The drone observes soullessly, making Karako jump so that several of your internal organs are threatened. However, you maintain what you believe the local populace would call a stiff upper whistle pillow. The drone's blank metal head studies you, or it could be studying something in the opposite direction, or even taking the drone equivalent of a piss. You can't really tell from its expression, because it has no features to make expressions with. Yeah.
What?
It has like this face-looking thing.
What? Is this a drone? It's a different drone.
Yeah, different flavor of drone.
Go.
Its examination or non-examination continues for some time. But your diminutive potential friend is well hidden from view, and after a while, evidently concluding that you are an inanimate object that makes unaccountable gestures with its wrists and fingers, the drone floats upward again, gaining speed, until with a dreary it whizzes off somewhere to find other helpless non-standard citizens to euthanize.
Poor baby. Poor baby.
Bad. When it's gone, you stand away from the rock and rub several sore places that have been pierced by bladed weapons.
Damn.
You turn to Karako to comment on the recent fervor, but stop when you see the look he is directing at you. A warm and admiring look. An affectionate and esteeming look. A look of friendship.
Yay!
And redundant words. Your first impulse is to throw your arms around him and lean in, but on second thought, remembering his pants arsenal, you put out your hand for a warm handshake. Victory is so close.
He hugs you anyway, and you get impaled.
Before you can seal the deal on this sweet friendship transaction, you hear a disturbance further down the path. God, can't the narrative chill for one single moment? Especially a moment when you're about to consummate a beautiful friendship. You turn to look. The footsteps, several sets of them, get nearer, and around the bend come 3 figures. 3 figures wearing swimming outfits. Lots of gold jewelry. And insistent, I don't know this word, I'm sorry, expressions. 3 figures with gills on their necks and small stylized fins.
They have
on
gills!
their face. Oh no. Oh no. What? Gills. That's dumb.
It's fine, whatever. They're on their neck though, which is a very inconvenient place for gills.
Dumb and bad.
But whatever. Alright, gills are the new thing. It's not like it's a big deal. Let's be real.
No, these are just fish people. They're not sea folk. Don't worry, they're native to this region.
So bad.
Oh man, is it possible you finally happened upon a group of the legendary Sea Dwellers?
Nope.
They stop short when they see you and Karako, obviously startled. They study you, you study them. Then Finhead Interloper 1, in a one-piece and diamond earrings, whispers to her companions, and all 3 burst out laughing. Oh.
Too little. Disgusting misshapes over here. I'm not very clever though, so I don't have to say very much to make you laugh.
Finhead Interloper 2, in a violet wetsuit and rings, slaps her thigh, and Finhead Interloper 3, in checkered swimming trunks, holds his sides.
That fucking...
Bad.
Also, Anglin is a knee slapper when it comes to laughing as well. He's like, Anyway.
So dumb. Part of you is relieved. Laughter drives out the devil, is the best medicine, and in any event is better than homicidal mania.
I don't know. Not on this planet.
On the other hand, this laughter isn't friendly, it's cold, mocking, and supercilious. These sea dwellers are obviously laughing at you, not with you.
Okay.
You notice Karako's cheeks flushing purple under his face paint, and his jaws clenching. However, he just stares with a stony dignity at the interlopers. This just makes them laugh harder. The fierce sea dweller says, This is lady.
Sorry, I want to be.
You want to be the first one?
I want to be the third one if the third one talks, I hope.
There's 2 girls and a boy.
I know, but I hope that the third one talks. Third one is the boy. Go.
not gonna do voices, man. I just can't.
Fine.
What are you two supposed to be?
Oh, I was just gonna read it.
I know, but I don't want you to if you're not gonna do a voice.
The second person.
Wait. You do one.
New friend too.
Go. Do one. Why are you taking so long?
Because I'm bad.
Shrimp. Cassidy. And Squamiskin.
This is your second companion.
Yay, here we go. A Carl Bates minnow.
Bad.
And his mutated soft shell crab.
This is your third. Well, I don't know who's talking now.
Looks like the minnow mall went down on the clown. Okay, wait. Look, okay. Evident Emperor.
You're bad.
It's been a long time since I've even... it's just turned into Vickery. Whatever.
You didn't confirm.
Causing it to spurt out the other one.
Caesar's laughter is redoubled.
It's been such a long time. That came out so bad.
You continue expressionless at these insults, but to your dismay, Karako's face is taking on a harsh, glowering look. You guess that such a tiny dude has probably been victimized by bullies his whole life, and as you happen to know, there are no bullies like Alternian bullies. In various enclosures of punctuation. You tell him to let them talk all the shit they want. Don't let them provoke him. They're trying to get him to do something stupid. If he doesn't react, they'll get bored and go away. No. Remember that drone? It's probably still around here somewhere. Touch a scale on their heads and you could be rendered into mother grub feedstock.
Hey, bottom feeders. No whispering when you're in the presence of your bathers. And you, little boy. Put a respectful expression on your recognition surface.
Oh, fuck off. You guys have face for a word. Get out of here. We need dicks. Lesbians dicks.
Yeah.
At this point. A recognition surface. So bad.
Recognition. Be more like your friend, the slender manatee over there.
Manatee.
Dang. But I like sea cow.
In fact, why is it you two are still perpendicular? Fucking whatever. In the presence of sea dwellers, you should be bowed at the right anglers.
Oh. So bad. Bowed at right anglers. And the first sea dweller seems to have an affinity for cheesy ocean puns.
You bet. Good thing I decided to do the first one's voice.
You bow to the sea dwellers. You have your dignity, but you also like not getting killed. Oh boy.
Oh, its eyes turned red. Yay!
Oh no. Karako remains stubbornly upright, his face getting angrier and purpler by the moment. The bladed weapons in his belt jingle from his enraged trembling.
Oh, see the little clownfish, he's getting angry. Looks like he's gonna shit his pants. What did I tell you about your face, boy? Didn't your lessons teach you anything?
Oh no, you're an orphan.
I guess, is this the same person?
I don't know, man.
I don't even have the lessons. A self-respecting lessons would never let a shrimp like that out of the hive.
There's no indication of who's talking with.
Yeah, I know. Whatever, keep going.
So,
Doesn't really matter.
Lessus is just as defective.
I wish they had
How
gone.
do you tell? How can you tell that he's defective?
I don't know. Look at the shrimp.
Guess.
I wish they had gone with like the colorful blocks with the hexagon and been like Finn had 1, Finn had 2.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
That would be better.
Since they're talking so goddamn much.
Yeah.
Oh!
Boy. The Lessus cracks are too much for Karako.
I guess that makes sense, considering, I'm being racist. Never mind. I'm being troll racist.
You're bad.
Purple blood gets angry and murders.
Oh. Oh wow, who could have seen this coming?
Hey, stop being a... I'm just saying though. I imagine it's harder for him to, you know, accept the being bullied. There's also, I almost forgot about the fucking Purple Blood Sea Dweller rivalry.
Yep.
Anyway, let's
Lest
keep
you
going.
forget. The small boy who is not quite within all his mental faculties.
You're so mean. Just read.
Unless
You know how many people are gonna get mad at us?
No.
Yeah.
Ignoring your hissed warnings, he suddenly leaps snarling into the air, draws bladed weapons from his belt in each hand, and hurtles towards the Sea Dwellers. Oh.
Shaking text.
Is changing sizes.
Yeah. Uncle! I can't fucking be too loud right now.
You're bad. Well.
Save. Save!
I did save.
Oh, I didn't. Okay, I'm sorry.
You dong.
Alright, so we have grab him by the coattails and try to keep him from precipitating a disaster, or leap into the fray and let's leap into the fray and die.
Oh yeah, Mr. Krabs. You leap into the fray to lend comfort and support. You would have counseled Karako to turn the other cheek and keep turning cheek after cheek until the Sea Dwellers got fed up and went away, but now that things have hotted up, you're not about to let down the side. Karako crashes into the Sea Dwellers, his bladed weapons whirling like a blender. You scamper close behind him and kick someone in the shin. It hurts your foot. It doesn't even have any other effect. The Sea Dwellers are made of tough stuff, or you're extremely flimsy. Signs have recently pointed to the latter. Your next sortie is more effective, however. Thinking quickly, you pick up a rock and throw it at the trigger root of a springthorn growing along the path next to where the violet bloods are enduring Hurricane Clown.
You kill all of them.
The coiled stalk springs out, impaling the dude with a 12-foot-long thorns.
That looks like a really goddamn gray purple.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
And he's thrown off balance, and violet blood begins to flow copiously down his body. That's a hue you haven't seen before. Kinda pretty. While these Sea Dwellers are made of tough stuff, he yanks the springthorn stalk away from him, pulling the thorns out, and flings it into the woods, and he takes out a...
I like how they're all wearing bathing suits. Like the chew from Homestuck. Whatever, keep going.
And then he takes out a pocket handkerchief and starts patting the injuries gently.
Okay.
Okay, let's shake it off. Alright. Meanwhile, Karako's bladed weapons have not been idle, and the other two Sea Dwellers are likewise leaking violet blood. Leaking. Oh, these bastards are hard to kill. You remember Paul for telling you that. As you watch, one of them grabs one of the bladed weapons from Karako's hand and buries it in his Karako's stomach.
Karako's dead.
Yep.
Oh.
Well, this unsurprisingly is distracting for a poor little clown.
Distracting.
Allowing two of the finny sons of bitches to grab handfuls of bladed weapons from his belt and bury them in various parts of his body. You dance around delivering harmless kicks and curses.
Are they gonna kill us too? Oh, more purple than violet now.
Yep, Karako is still waving his weapons, but he seems to be waving them more slowly now. Then, as more and more bladed weapons are buried in his body, he seems to lose focus. Weapons he'd been brandishing fall from his hands. Finally, he falls to the ground in the center of a spreading pool of purple blood, twitches feebly for a minute, and then is still. You stare in disbelief at the corpse of one who, if he had been spared just a short while longer, would have been your friend. One despised and rejected. A clown of suffering, familiar with pain. They had flogged him and mocked him and spit on him, and then killed him. You struggle to come to terms with this. While you were doing that, one of the remaining Sea Dwellers grabs you by the hair, and suplexes you onto the ground. Your head snaps back and pain explodes behind your eyes. You're left lying on your back and trying to stay conscious, which is why you have a good view of what happens next. In the dark sky above you, something opens, something even darker than the sky. A hole, like a cave in the clouds. What? It widens until you can see that in the cave is a carousel with wooden horses mounted on brass posts. A carousel, okay. Rotates. The horse is plunging up and down in time with carnival music played by a mechanical organ. Riding the horses.
Is this the Dark Carnival?
riding
Did
the,
we die?
riding the horses are naked store window mannequins. Their legs slung awkwardly over the horses' backs, their stiff arms down by their sides in whatever pose they were created, their horns huge and wildly shaped.
Looks like Purple Blood's got some crazy horns.
In the darkness above the carousel, other naked mannequins with plastic wings tied to their backs are supported on wires. And above these, in turn, a net of white Christmas tree lights twinkle against the roof of the dark cave or circus tent or whatever it is, throwing their dim starlight illumination down on the rotating carousel. As you watch, two of the winged mannequins break loose from their wires and fly down from that dark region into the night sky in the dimension Alternia occupies. What the fuck is happening? They maneuver until the stiff hands on the ends of their stiff arms are underneath Karako, and they lift him up into the sky, into the dark carnival.
Well, damn.
Well.
Okay, so we got ghosts and we got the dark carnival. I guess.
What the fuck? What?
Alright. Time for some religious insaneness.
You hear a last faint reviving honk as they set him on one of the wooden horses, and then the hole in the sky closes, and there is nothing but the night sky above you. All is silent and still again. An odd feeling comes over you. You don't think you've ever felt such a feeling, just the reality of how utterly insignificant you are.
Okay.
Sure, you've spent the last few months wandering with no desire but the desire for connection, and you are, in a way, a being unique in this galaxy, but honestly, what does that even mean? You flit in and out of people's lives, they're 1 minute gone the next, always moving from friend to friend. You are, for all intents and purposes, a virtual non-entity, a bland point of view vector, a neutral second-person narrator, barely coming into the picture, a retiring entity expressing only a simple one-dimensional desire for friendship. But just about now, you feel that things have gone pretty far, and just about now, you feel that you've had about enough. Enough of arrogant highbloods. Enough, in fact, of short wavelength hematypes carelessly and without compunction killing and maiming and exploiting those of longer wavelength. And a survival of the fittest regime that seems to come down to survival of the most violent psychopaths. Is this a moral universe or is it not? You ask yourself. Are repulsive cruelty and sickening evil punished in this universe or are they not? Does an ethical force operate in this universe or does it not? You don't know the answer to these questions, but you do know one thing. You intend to depart for once from your one-dimensional persona. You intend to punish repulsive cruelty and sickening evil if it comes within your ability to do so.
Oh, damn.
You intend to create an ethical force field.
Jeez, this is quite the ending.
You intend to exert some moral gravity right around where you are, if you possibly can. And you realize that this odd feeling you are having seems to be drawing moral Higgs bosons out of the moral ground state, right out of the fabric of this multicolored blood-soaked planet that heaves under your feet. You take on the aspect of Clown Sarker.
Sarker? What is a Sarker?
I don't know, man.
Hey! Maybe it's a person. Hang on. Let me look it up.
Shit is too gross for me. Look at it.
I see Sanitra Sarka. English actress,
Look for the definition of Sarker.
Is a surname. Okay, hang on. I think it's a surname, though. Nah.
No.
I don't know who. I'm sorry.
Well. Seizing 2 cans of inexpensive soft drink from where they fall from Kirako's bandoliers, you shake them and pull the pins. Then with malice aforethought, you direct the twin streams at the sea dwellers. You smell banana and strawberry as the deadly streams play upon them. Already weakened, they fall back with cries under the withering onslaught.
Oh, Jesus.
As soon as the stream,
What is this, acid?
As soon as the streams slacken, you take up 2 more cans, shake them, and deal out death to the unrighteous.
Damn it. What the hell?
You smell peach and diet root beer this time, but no pity softens your heart. You wouldn't care even if it were pineapple watermelon you were spraying on these brutes. These fin heads are made of tough stuff. Rallying even in the face of this intense onslaught, they push forward and, seizing some bladed weapons from the purple blood pool, advance upon you. Not one step back, you vow to the memory of Karako Pierret. You stand your ground, in desperation grabbing some cans of diet tonic water and club soda and opening up your batteries once again, but to no avail. A trident pierces you to the bone, followed by a scimitar, a tomahawk, a short spear, and so many other bladed weapons that the sheer weight of them drives you to the ground. Where your red precious blood flows in moderate streams, mixing with the purple blood of your proto-friend. This is the end, you realize. but you are glad you died in righteous battle. You are glad you created even the tiny, sputtering, temporary moral force field in your local region that you did. You can feel your life and narrative point of view slipping away, but you are content.
We're back.
Yeah, that's what's that you see above you now? A dark space has opened up even darker than the night sky, and two stiff-looking winged fingers are descending. They land next to you and gently place their stiff hands under you. Then they ascend once again, lifting you higher and higher into the darker space. As you pass the boundary of the heavenly carnival, your life seems to revive within you. And as the fabric of the place closes around you and two stiff mannequins place you on a carousel horse next to Karako, you realize that planets, universes, dimensions, realities, powers, principalities, and cosmos come and go, but friendship is forever.
Jesus. Well, damn. Here we are.
Well. Is this troll heaven?
Is this purple? Is this like a heaven? We got like ghosts and then we got the fucking...
We got purple blood heaven. Woo.
Or maybe this is the true heaven and not the purple bloods just got it down, man. They just know what's up.
They just know. That sure is nutly.
Jeez.
What a fucking weird ass ending, man.
Yeah.
I can't even like wrap my head around what just transpired here. Like,
Is this the lore he was talking about? Maybe this is the lore James was talking about.
Maybe. Ugh. We gotta finish this.
Yeah, I know. We'll talk about it more later.
This was the good ending.
No, I don't think this was the good ending because we're dead.
So we got the friendship.
Maybe you're right. Oh, let's keep going. This is gonna be weird later then.
That's a weird fucking...
Because what are we gonna do later? Are we gonna like reference Karako like he's our dead friend?
No. Fucking... Let's lose. Let's grab him by the coattails and try to keep him from precipitating a disaster. You leap forward and grab Karako by the coattails. Or by his belt. You aren't actually sure what a coattail is. Jesus, he's strong. You can barely hold him. It's like trying to restrain a small truck. His legs rotate wildly, kicking up a cloud of dust, and he brandishes his bladed weapons wildly in the direction of the Sea Dwellers. After a startled moment in which they jump backward and the Sea Dwellers have started to laugh again, coming up with more stupid insults and fish puns. This is not helping. Karako runs twice as hard, honks twice as loud, shakes his weapons twice as threateningly. Hey, hey, you shout at Karako, trying to be heard above the fracas, holding on with all your might and digging in your heels. You have half a mind to just let him go, to pay the Sea Dwellers back for their insults, but you try to keep a cool head. You're doing your proto-friend much more good trying to restrain his wrath. You're now succeeded in wrapping your arms all the way around him, and now you get in front of him, holding him back with straight arms, bellowing soothingly into his face, and trying to avoid the bladed weapons he is brandishing. But it's not working. You can see from the contorted features, the bared teeth, the distended nostrils with smoke coming out, the blazing eyes. What's smoke? What?
I'm not... I assume it's a metaphorical...
Figurative.
Yeah, figurative smoke.
Figurative smoke. The blaring eyes. The blazing eyes. The blaring eyes. It's blazing eyes.
You're bad.
The Karako is getting more and more enraged. And suddenly his rage seems to reach a kindling point. His body vibrates violently. His eyes grow huge and round. He literally detonates. And suddenly from his body, something like a nuclear blast pressure wave of fear and violence sends you flying through the air. Like,
oh, is this his fucking chuckle voodoo?
oh boy. Like a scrap of paper in a gale. What the fuck? Are you hallucinating? But you can see as you soar up above the path that the Sea Dwellers aren't laughing anymore. In fact, they're screaming in terror and fleeing wildly, blundering into razor leaves, being impaled by spring thorns and burned by pot acid, and generally receiving the stern retribution that awaits assholes. Then your head collides with a tree branch, and you are rendered unable to narrate for a while.
Damn it! No! Fuck!
Dot. You wake up lying in the dust. As consciousness returns, you realize that you're lying on the path, and as it returns further, that a small clown-painted figure is seated next to you, quite calm now. He smiles fondly as he sees you sit up. Bad. You smile in return. You express relief that he really realizes you are acting in his best interest, holding him back from the fin head. And now... Hang on, this fin had like a fucking. You could use it as like a goddamn like sea dweller insult.
Yes.
I'm just realizing this.
Keep going.
And now, though largely because of his unexpected burst of clown sorcery, or whatever that was, everything has turned out for the best. Karako holds up his arms for a hug, but then remembering the bladed weapons in his belt, sticks out his hand. You shake it warmly.
This is the good ending. Ha! Friendship. See, it played the good song.
There's a Nutley ending where it was still kind of good, but also weird and bad.
Kind of like that Chixie ending where we were friends, I guess.
Well,
damn. What a dunk.
A fucking weird ass ending zone.
Yep.
Weird fucking volume.
That was great.
What the shit?
I enjoyed it.
What in the hot goddamn just transpired here in his house? It's beyond knowing and recognition. No. Beyond the stars lies the eternal dominion of that which is beyond time and space, and all the cosmos did roar with their ephemeral quality. Don't push me off the bed.
Fucking shut up, you bitch.
Here, trying to push me off the bed.
Trying to be fucking a dunk ass. Stop. But yeah, man, this weird like clown heaven, but there's like ghosts, but then there's also clown heaven, I guess. Your armpit is swaying.
There are two figures with mannequins.
They're two mannequins.
That's dumb.
But obviously not everyone is there. It's just one carousel. Unless there's more that we're not seeing.
The carousel turns round and round and round and round and round, and you see within it all the history of all the lovely purple bloods.
Shit, dog. This sounds crazy.
You're so dumb. Oh yes, the carousel is small, but somehow
We're carnival forever now, baby.
round and round you go into the cosmos.
It's so bad.
Forever.
You're a dunk. It sounds kind of sad. And I wouldn't want to be there.
You're a banana.
Maybe it's different.
Oh man, fucking whatever. The weird ass motherfucking ending.
I loved it.
This is bananally.
I loved it.
We became righteous. We
Yep.
joined the clown religion.
We sure did.
Right at the end, for real.
Yep. Maybe it only accepts clowns. Maybe it only accepts people that join that are religious.
It only accepts true believers.
Yep.
Who are righteous. AKA violent against violent bloods.
You're stupid. I don't think that's what it is at all, you stupid. I burped.
He was like, ooh, my moral compass has
I
activated.
wonder how many dunks are gonna blow up about it.
My moral compass has activated.
Honk!
Ooh, I will get justice against these violet bloods.
Honk, honk!
Ooh.
Don't you understand? I'm telling you to end the thing in honks.
No,
End
I
it.
don't understand. You're bad. You're bad. Alright. Alright. No, good night. Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Yes, bye. Stop,
Bye.
Karen. Bye.